Welcome, Stashers, to another episode of STACHE Sports. Hope you're having a good week. Hope you had a good weekend and have a good Monday. Today we'll talk about the upcoming NBA Game 3 at Madison Square Garden, the first game of Madison Square Garden for an NBA championship game in 27 years, or however long it's been. It's been a really long time. We'll also talk about the recap about how amazing that hockey game was between the Carolina Hurricanes and Las Vegas Golden Knights, and talk about how wild it was. We'll recap the baseball and talk about baseball. I still hang up my Pirate stuff and still talk trash to my friends Bart Hurley and Drew DiCiaccio, even though Bart Hurley and Drew DiCiaccio won this time because the Atlanta Braves won. So congratulations to Bart Hurley and Drew DiCiaccio. Probably mispronounced his last name, but oh well, he'll get over it. Unlike my friend Colin, I still put on my Pirate hat every day, my Pirate stuff. And when I watch the games with my Pirate stuff on. I won't be putting on the hat right now because I did my hair, so I don't want to mess it up. But congratulations to the Braves. I mean, the last game, the Pirates should have won that game, but the bullpen came in and blew it. I don't know if it's because it was raining or what it was, but they should have probably kept Bubba Chandler in there a little longer, just talk to him and try to calm him down to see if he got one more out before they ended up go-ahead run. But oh well, the Atlanta Braves are the best team in baseball right now, so it was a hard series for the Pirates. But I still think the Pirates are a good team and will be a better team this year than they were in the years past. It just stinks that we have a good bullpen this year. A really good offense, even though the offense didn't really show up in the Atlanta Braves series. But we have one of the best offenses this year. And you can see my Pirates jersey still hung up back there. But we have one of the best offenses right there. But we have one of the best offenses right now, and one of the top offenses in baseball. But our bullpen has been really lackluster. They have now the lead, or still tied, with the most blown saves in all of baseball. I mean, if we would have won some of those games, we'd have a lot better record right now. It'd be a lot better position in the NL Central and stuff. But I know it's still a young season. There's still a lot of baseball left to go. But we'll see what the Pirates can do. But I'm just glad they're having a lot better season this year so far than they did in the years past. And the offense. I mean, it's finally good to see a good offense when Paul Skeens back there is pitching. And we have a good offense to try to get more wins, even though some of the last games he hasn't been doing as hot, but he'll turn it around. But he'll turn it around. But Sunday, unless the Democrats have something to say about it, it's a UFC fight at the White House. It's going to be interesting to see how that happens, but we'll talk more about the UFC fight at the White House later this week. But we'll recap the last fight. We'll talk about the UFC fights later on this week. We'll recap it later in the video. On Saturday night was the Game 3 of the NHL Finals. The first game in Las Vegas. First period, it was 0-0, but I watched it after a movie. But in the second period, Vegas scored a couple times, but got called back for one for offsides, and the other one for goaltender interference, so got him called back. And then Carolina had too many men on the ice, so Vegas got a power play goal and scored one goal, but didn't get called back. And a couple seconds later, they scored 2 goals, making it 2-0. And then later on in the game, in the second period, Mitch Marner, who used to play for the Toronto Maple Leafs, had a couple goals already and got another goal, making it 2 goals in the game and making it 3-0. And then later on, he got a hat trick, making the fastest hat trick. It was like 6 minutes to go, with 6 minutes between goals, or whatever it was, making the fast hat trick, making it 4-0. And my boy, I thought that game was over, because it's hardly ever in an NHL and any sports like that, even soccer. I don't know about soccer, but at least in NHL, it's really rare and hard for a team to come back in only one period or 20 minutes, 4 goals to tie it up, or get 5 goals to end up winning the game. But with 12 minutes, under 13 minutes, when it started hitting 12 minutes, Carolina woke up in the second period. or third period, excuse me, and they scored one goal, and then they scored another goal after that, and then they scored another goal after that. They had 3 goals in like 39 seconds, which is really fast, making it really fast goals, making it 4-3. I'm like, wow, I thought this game was over, but the next thing I know is it's still a game, and Carolina was only down by 1 goal after scoring 3 goals in 39 seconds under the 13-minute mark in the game with 12 minutes on the clock. And now it was close. Carolina was making a comeback, and then later on in the game, which we'll get into who scored for the game here in a minute, but we'll go over the recap first. Later on in the game, Vegas threw the puck out of the ring by accident, which means they got a delay penalty, which means the Carolina Hurricanes went on a power play and they had a dogpile goal tying at 4-4. I couldn't believe it. The game was tied at 4-4. They had a blur on the bottom of the screen. The only team that had scored 4 plus goals in the third period to win a game in the Stanley Cup was in 1982 when the Minnesota Twins or Minnesota Wild or whatever it was, or one of the teams, I can't remember what the team was, did it in a game. I couldn't believe that. I thought, oh, Vegas has this game in hand. Also, earlier on in the game, I can't remember if they scored in that power play, but there was a power play where Carolina was on, and Vegas had a shorthand chance, and then they even had another chance when Mitch Marner went on the penalty shot because he got tripped up during the shot. So they awarded him a penalty shot, which I never seen someone get a penalty shot, but he messed up. And then to get the goal and making it 5, it would have been 5-0 at that point, and that probably would have been the icing on the cake. But at the beginning of the third period, the the Carolina Hurricanes switched goaltenders to a backup goaltender that hadn't played in 2 months, but he looked really good. So it's going to be interesting tomorrow night when we talk about tomorrow's episode of who they're going to go with and goaltender. But in double overtime, and went to 1 overtime, and nobody scored. And then it went to another overtime, and Las Vegas ended up scoring and winning in double overtime, which was a wild game. I couldn't believe that it was going to double overtime. It was a 4-0 game. But don't give up on Carolina. Las Vegas probably took them too lightly. I mean, I kind of agree with what PK Subban said. Vegas kind of switched the game away, thinking they won a game, and Carolina was hungry and wanted to try to win a game to not go down 2-1. But they came up too short, and Las Vegas ended up winning the game in double overtime, which was nice to see. Thomas Herschel had a power play goal to score the first goal in the second period. And then Mitch Marner had the last 3 goals in the second period, making 4-0. And like I said, I did not think they're going to come back, but Carolina scored with Jordan Note, Martok, Tyler Hall, and Jordan Stahl to make it 4-3. And then Shavrovsky had a power play goal, making it 4-4. And then Shane Theodore had a goal in this double overtime. And then Shane Theodore's goal in double overtime, it deflected off a couple of the Carolina Hurricanes and even deflected off the skate of the backup goaltender and went in the net. So they kind of scored on themselves. But they credited to Shane Theodore, and the Las Vegas Golden Knights had taken a 2-1 series lead over the Carolina Hurricanes. They have off today and they play again tomorrow, Game 4. We'll see what's going to happen, but that's an interesting series. That's one of the better series right now. Because on Friday night, the New York Knicks won, like I said in Friday's video, but they play tonight. So good. And Donald Trump's going to be at the game tonight. I wonder what the chaos is going to be of all the security, but Donald Trump said he's going to be at the game tonight to support the New York Knicks because he is from New York and probably a huge New York Knicks fan because he likes sports. But it's going to be interesting to see what the New York Knicks do. I mean, tickets at the cheap end were like 10,000, and they're in 6 figures at the expensive end. So it's going to be a lot of rich people there because New York does have a lot of rich people, but $10,000 for a ticket to see a basketball game is outrageous. I know it's a championship game, but still, and they haven't had a championship game there in 27 years. But still, that's a lot of money to be spending on a basketball ticket, especially if you're trying to spend it for your family. That's a lot of money just to spend on a couple tickets. The San Antonio Spurs are looking to come back tonight in that game and not go down 3-0. Because if they're down 3-0, that's a pretty bad series hold, and that means hardly any teams come back from that. In NBA history, only 5 teams have come back down from a 2-0 deficit in NBA Finals to win the championship. The 5 teams are the Boston Celtics in 1996 over the Los Angeles Lakers, the Portland Trail Blazers in 1977 over the Philadelphia 76ers, the Miami Heat in 2006 over the Dallas Mavericks, the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2016, and the Milwaukee Bucks in 2021. The San Antonio Spurs are looking at their names in that, and they have to start off tonight by winning one game. Because if they win one game, then they might be able to win every game. But it's going to be hard because that New York defense is really tough. It's going to be interesting to see what they can do. But, I mean, don't count them out if there's a big lead, because they did come back from a 14-point lead, and if it wasn't for a turnover, this series might be tied at 1-1, and we'll be having a different conversation today in today's episode. But since that turnover happened, and they fouled Jalen Brunson, and he got the extra point, he got one basket, and their star missed the layup, or missed the basket to go up the 2-point basket. Victor Yama missed a 2-point basket to go up to help them win a game. They're down 2-0. And if they go down 3-0, it's even worse. We'll see what the statistics are of teams coming down from 3-0. No NBA team has ever come back from a 3-0 deficit. So if they go down from 3-0 tonight, and the New York Knicks take Game 3, they might be able to get a gentleman's sweep, which means win a couple games, but no team has ever come back from that. So if the Spurs want to stay in the series, this is a must-win game tonight, because going down 3-0, if you look at the statistics, no team has ever came back from that. Notable New York comebacks. For Seattle Supersonics' 1996 finals, they took 2 games off of the Chicago Bulls after trailing 3-0, but lost Game 6. Portland's first round... Oh, that's in playoffs. I mean, they might have forced games after 3-0 deficit, but no team in the NBA has ever come back. So the San Antonio Spurs need Victor Yamba, need Darren Fox, need Shane Castle, and need all these other superstars to do good tonight. I think the Spurs will win tonight. I mean, I don't know. I said the Spurs will win, but I think they're going to win. I don't know if the NBA is going to... I mean, I'm not trying to say the NBA is fixed or anything, but I just think the Spurs are going to figure it out tonight and maybe make it a series and win a game. But we'll see. If the New York's going to be playing tough, it just depends if their offense shows up, because their defense is looking really good right now, and it depends if the Victor Yamba and the offense can show up for the San Antonio Spurs. I just hope it's a good game regardless of who wins. I don't really care who wins, but I'm going to say the Spurs, because I think they make it 2-1 and make it look like they might come back and take both games in New York, but we'll see. If they go down 3-0, then it's probably all over, and New York's going to be winning the finals, either in 4 games or maybe 5, or maybe another one if Spurs can get a couple more wins after that. But like I said, no team has ever come down 3-0, and only 5 teams have come down from 2-0. So can the Spurs try to be the 6th team? But if they do that, they need a win tonight. This is a must-win game for the Spurs. So I think the back's on the wall in a must-win game. I think the Spurs might come out victorious near the end, but it'll be a close game. I mean, it's going to be interesting, but the New York Knicks are going to have that crowd and that atmosphere, being the first time having an NBA Finals game in New York City since 27 years. But it's going to be interesting to see. I just hope it's a good game, like I said. But I think the Spurs win tonight. I think Victor Yamba has a big night tonight. I think he tries to make up for missing the last shot. If I would have tied the series at 1 game apiece. And I just think NBA wins more games, so that's why I think the Spurs win tonight. But we'll see. I just hope it's a good game. I'll be watching some of the game tonight. I just hope it's a good game. And we'll see. I think the Spurs will win. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Knicks win. I mean, I know I have some New York Knicks fans. I just don't root for the Knicks because I'm a Celtics fan and they're rivals. But I just think the New York Knicks might win tonight. I think the Spurs will win tonight. So I don't see the Spurs going down 3-0. But we'll see. I mean, the Knicks haven't lost a game since being down 2-1 to Atlanta Hawks. They swept both of the Philadelphia 76ers and Cleveland Cavaliers. And they haven't lost a game in over a month. So does the hot streak go tonight or does it cool off? and the Spurs get one of them. That's what I think, but we'll see. I've been wrong before, and I might be wrong again tonight, but I'll still be doing my episode tomorrow. But I think the Spurs take a nice game. It's at 8:30 on ABC and ESPN. And ESPN, that's Pat McAfee cast I saw earlier on today. So if you want to watch that, and they got the game's on earlier at 8:30 tonight. But I think the Spurs win tonight. I think it's a close game, but I think the Spurs have a last-second shot to win the game and stun the New York Knicks crowd. But we'll see. But $10,000 for a ticket, that's a lot of money for a ticket. There's going to be a lot of rich people like Timothy Chalamet, Caitlyn Jenner, Spike Lee, and all these famous people going to the game. But we'll see what happens. It's going to be a ruckus crowd. I just hope it's a good game and a close game. That's all I really care for, no matter who wins. Because I don't really have a dog in the fight. I just want it to be a good game. But I just don't see the Spurs going down 3-0, and that's why I'm picking the San Antonio Spurs. Here's some NFL news. So I think the Spurs are going to win, but that's what we'll talk more about the NBA game tomorrow. And talk about the next game for the NHL Finals. The NHL Finals is a lot better. It's a lot closer series because that's 2-1 right now, Vegas. But that's still anybody's series. But like I said, if the New York Knicks win tonight, then it's probably all over. Unless the San Antonio Spurs could do something that's never been done in NBA history before and come down 3-0. Brandon Ayuk appears that the 49ers are implied the 49ers are scared to release him. Uh-oh. In the video posted on this Instagram, geez, how many times is this dumb gonna be posting videos? He already posted a video from speeding, got busted. But the video on Instagram Sunday afternoon, San Francisco 49ers receiver Brandon Ayuk spoke for about a minute and a half, seemingly offering his first public comment about his current situation with the team. Brandon Ayuk should be scared to say that. I don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, there has been talks that the 49ers might move on from Brandon Ayuk, but we'll see. I just been hearing that too. Snead, after 2 years being traded by the Kansas City Chiefs, is going back to Kansas City where he started. Let's see how that goes. And Jacoby Brissett, not brisket, that's a food item. But Jacoby Brissett has returned to Cardinals practice. He's the backup quarterback, will be the starters this year. And we'll see what happens with that. But those are your NFL news for today. There's no big news to the Steelers. We're still trying to wait to see if the Steelers sign Joey Porter Jr. and sign other players. But there's no big news right now. Joey Porter Jr. is probably the next one to get signed from that draft class. But he might need a lot more money because he's a starter and he's a pretty good cornerback. I mean, he did have a lot better season last year from Penn State and didn't get that many penalties, so I think he's worth the money, but we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, but there's no other news in the Steelers right now that I have seen. Like I said, the Pirates got swept by the Braves. Congratulations to Bart Hurley and Drew DiCiaccio. Your Braves won, and I like Colin. I still wear my Pirate stuff and don't hide and still talk trash about my team because that's my team. But whatever. But the Pirates have off today before going to play the Dodgers, which is going to be a hard series coming up, like the Braves were. But today's picks, I think Tampa Bay Rays beat the Boston Red Sox. I think the Yankees beat the Indians. I think the Blue Jays beat the Phillies. I think the Astros beat the Angels. I think the Mariners beat the Orioles. I think the Reds beat the Padres. I think the Washington Nationals beat the Giants, and I think the Brewers beat the Athletics. But we'll see. It's going to be an interesting baseball world. I mean, the Pirates' offense is doing a lot better, like I've been saying and preaching. But we need to either trade for an arm or get some kind of arm in the bullpen. I mean, no Carl Majeski is bringing the bullpen and did a lot better in that one game he played in. But we need to get some arm in the bullpen. So that's something the Pirates have been really struggling with. Like I said earlier in the video, the Pirates are tied or have a lead now for the most blown saves. And if the Pirates would have won some of these games, but their offense was really hot and had them lead most of the game, who knows what the Pirates would have been. The Pirates might have been in one of the top teams right now in the division, and maybe even better than the San Antonio, even better than the Milwaukee Brewers, thinking about basketball still, but even better than the Milwaukee Brewers in the division if we would have held on to some of those leads. I mean, even like the last game we might not have got swept if we would have been able to hold on to the lead before Sis came in that game and ended up blowing that game for the Pirates. I mean, I know it wasn't his fault. The bases were loaded or something, but I think they should have kept Bubba Chandler out there because Bubba Chandler was doing good. He just had a little rocky start, but he was doing a lot better than the previous game, so I think they should have kept him out there. That sometimes what annoys me by the manager, Don Kelly. Sometimes he takes these people out too early, I think. I don't know if it's pitch count or whatever it is, but that's something that the Pirates that's something the Pirates have been struggling with. I mean, the bullpen was average and a lot better than the Pee Wee. Then, like I said, the Pirates might be a lot better this year and a lot better looking. But whatever, we have a day off, so hopefully that can get these teams back up and post games tomorrow, and they can do good against the Dodgers, so one of the highest paid teams. But we'll see. It's going to be an interesting time to see what happens if the Pirates. But those are my picks. This week, like I said earlier in the video, it's a UFC fight at the White House this Sunday, unless if people try to take it down, like the Democrats are trying to sue now. But I don't want to get into politics. But this Sunday is supposed to be the UFC fight. But last Saturday night, they had another UFC fight in the Apex. And we're going to go over that fight card right now. So if you haven't seen it, you might not want to watch this part. Souza won in round 1 of a minute 34 by knockout and TKO. Chaves won by split decision in round 3. Jay Brito won by submission in round 1 at 4 minutes and 19 seconds. C. Chandler, the lady, won in round 1 with 3 minutes and 42 seconds by submission. E. Traves won by submission in round 1 at 4 minutes and 32 seconds. McGee won by unanimous decision in round 3. Costa won by a TKO in round 1 at 2 minutes and 8. Barnikowski won by TKO and knockout in round 1 with a minute 25. Mitchell won by submission in round 3, 4 minutes and 52 seconds. Nolan won by unanimous decision in the 3rd round. B. Allen won by unanimous decision in the 3rd round. And the main event was a unanimous decision in the 5th round and went to Bonfim. So those are the UCF fights at June 6th at the Meta Apex, Las Vegas, Nevada. And like I said, this Sunday night on CBS and Paramount Plus, it's going to be the UFC Freedom 250. Main headlines: Taparla versus Jeff Chiva into the South Lawn of the White House in Washington, D.C. But later on, we'll talk more about that, and we'll have a special episode Sunday about the fights on Sunday night, June 14th. I'll have a special episode about that on Sunday, June 14th, about the UFC fights. But those are the UFC fights for last week in Las Vegas, Nevada. Tonight, I think the Sun will beat the Liberty in NBA basketball. I think the Fever will beat the Magistics. And I think the Aces will beat the Storm. Right now, in college baseball, the Baseball World Series is going on, so we'll get over that here in a minute. On Saturday, Georgia ended up beating Mississippi State 13-12. North Carolina won 4-0 and tied that series at 1 game apiece. Alabama won St. John's, and Alabama leads the series 1-0. West Virginia won 17-1, and West Virginia wins the series at 2 games apiece. Troy won that series at 2 games apiece too. Oklahoma leads the series 1-0 on Saturday, and Oregon lost to Texas, and Texas leads the series 1-0. Ole Miss ends up taking out Auburn Tigers in the College Baseball World Series and moves on to the next round. Georgia ended up winning and taking the series in the Super Regional and won. Texas won the series and won 2-0. Oklahoma won the series and won 2-0. North Carolina won the series in a pivotal game 3 and took the series against USC and moved on to the next round. And Alabama knocked St. John's out of the baseball. So your teams that moved on are Georgia, Texas, Oklahoma, Alabama, North Carolina, West Virginia, Troy, and so forth. And so on and so forth. But like I said before, I think the San Antonio Spurs are going to win tonight and make a pivotal game for it. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of crowd they got there and where people sit and see all the famous people there, because it's $10,000 for a ticket. But like I said, I think the Spurs win tonight. I don't think the Spurs go down 3-0, and if they do, then that probably means they're done in the series and it's going to be a New York series. I mean, New York team hasn't won a championship for quite a while, so maybe this is the year for the New York Knicks. But I mean, going down 2-0, there's only 5 teams out of all the NBA teams have ever done it, so that's not a good statistic either, coming down from 2-0 to come back and win the series. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens tonight. If the Spurs come out and play, it's going to be a good game. They don't need to have costly turnovers. That's what happened. I mean, I don't remember in the last game the New York Knicks having that many turnovers, so that's what kind of happened too, is a lot of turnovers. I mean, if they didn't have all those turnovers, they might be able to win the game, and especially when they have that last turnover at the very end. That's what happened really at the very end, is when they had that last turnover, it really messed them up, and they couldn't bounce back because it was the last couple of seconds and they had a bad turnover. If they didn't have that bad turnover in the last 3 seconds, they probably would have tied the series at 1 game apiece, and we'll be going to game 5 back in San Antonio. But right now, as it stands, the New York Knicks are up 2-0. And now, even though I'm not a New York Knicks fan, because I'm a Celtics fan, I'm giving the Knicks credit because they still haven't lost a game since going down 2-1 against the Atlanta Hawks, and have been on quite a tear and making NBA history by winning a lot of these games and winning them by double-digit margins. Besides the last game where they went by 1 point to hold off. But I mean, they haven't lost a game in a month. That's quite impressive for an NBA team not to lose a game in a month, more than a month. And it's quite impressive to tear it on right now. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. I mean, their offense is doing pretty good too, but their defense and that coach has really led their defense around and turned their defense around and making their defense really good for the New York Knicks. But I just don't see the Knicks going up 3-0. But I mean, if they do, then that probably puts to bed many chances of the Spurs coming back. Because like I said, even though some teams have tried to come back, there's no team that's ever come back and completed a series to win the NBA Finals at 3-0. I mean, some teams have come back close to do it, but no team has ever come back from 3-0 to win the series. Some teams come down like 3-1. If they go down like 2-1, maybe come back and win it. But no team has ever come back from a 3-0 deficit to win it in the NBA Finals or an NBA game. So it's going to be but the statistics on that is not that good. And statistics on the Spurs coming back isn't that good either, because the New York Knicks just have to win 2 more games, where the San Antonio Spurs have to win 3 more games. Or the New York Knicks have to win 2 more games, where San Antonio would have to win 3 games. Have to win all 4 games right now. The best out of 7. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting. And like I said, I'll still be watching the Pirates tomorrow when they play the Dodgers, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough series, but we'll see. In tomorrow's episode, we'll talk more about the sports. We'll talk about the hockey game. Like I said, that was a wild hockey game. I mean, Carolina came back from a 4-0 deficit, which hasn't been done since like 1982, but come back from 4 more points. I mean, they still lost the game in double overtime, which was wild. But it went to 2 overtimes. When I thought that game was over in the regulation, it didn't go to overtime. But I didn't think that Vegas was going to mess up that bad and give up 4 goals in the first period. I told my dad it was kind of funny if we were like, oh, look, this game's over, and you left that in the second period to try to beat traffic, and you're a Vegas fan, you probably ticked off that you missed the rest of that game because you thought the game was over because it's a 4-0 deficit. But congratulations to Carolina, even though they did come back. But Vegas is up 2-0. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. We'll talk about a recap about the basketball, regardless of who wins tonight, if I'm right or wrong. And we'll talk more about the Pirates and other sports tomorrow. Thank you for watching every episode of Stache Sports, you Stashers, and have a good day. I hope you have a good day. If you have any comments, please leave them down below, and I'll try to comment back. And please like and share my video so more people can see it. But thank you for watching another episode of Stache Sports.